Hi, everybody. I'm not in the middle of a snowdrift or on a cloud, although I am with an angel when it comes to music. I am with the beautiful Soraya, who just did a photo shoot here. Hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, what does it feel like when you do a photo shoot all day long and everybody's fussing over you? Is that, like, annoying after a while?
It's not annoying. I mean, it's almost 4:30. It's actually 4:30 in the afternoon. I got here at 8:30 in the morning. So it's a long day. I mean, people think it's like snap, and you're done. It's a long day, but the people here were just fantastic. They treated me so great, and I think we did some good work. So, yeah.
And how many of these kinds of things does an artist like you have to do during the course of, let's say, a year?
Well, in the course of a week, in the course of the last 2 weeks, I've done 6 photo shoots for magazines, and we've done 4 shows. We've done countless TV shows and radio interviews and press interviews. It's nonstop.
It's all part of the work, but the important thing that people need to know about you, besides the fact that you're beautiful and should have a lot of photos taken, is that you're a real artist. You're a true singer-songwriter. That's what you're about. That's what you love the most, isn't it?
That's really what. I happen to be a singer-songwriter who's photogenic, right? So then they take a lot of pictures of me, but what's really important to me is the music. And I made the songs before I decided to make the record, and I recorded the record before we decided how they were going to sell the record. It's very important to me to have it real, to keep it real, in the writing, in the studio, in the promotion. As a fan, I hate it when I go and I hear stuff that either doesn't sound like it is on the record because they don't know how to sing, or just stuff like that. So I just try to keep it real. I try to keep it about what really matters, which is the music. I try to write interesting lyrics. I try to do interesting arrangements. It's still commercial, it's still pop, but you don't have to dumb it down. You can actually do some interesting stuff. And I just have faith that there are people out there that like it, and I want to respect them, and hope that they'll get into it. So.
Well, most people probably know your story, know that 3 years ago you just released an album, about to promote it, and then you were stricken with breast cancer, and that you worked over those last 3 years. And part of the process, I would imagine, of making music was the healing process for you as well, was it?
Yeah. The music part for me was a serious part of my treatment, and it was something that I've been playing the guitar since I was 5 years old, so it's something that's always been there for me, and I relied on it heavily. And the songs, I think people might have been expecting a really dark record, but I didn't want to make a dark record. I wanted to make a record of the things that I learned, not necessarily how I got there, but of what I learned once I got there. And that's it. I went back to the guitar, went back to the acoustic guitar. I went back to, I used to make records. I did it live with my musicians, my band in the studio, and we just recorded it live. But the music was very much a pivotal part in me trying to get through that whole diagnosis and the whole treatment.
Now, did you write some songs that never made it to the record?
Yeah, there's a lot of songs that will never make it on any record. There are many songs that I wrote just for me. It was like psychology for me. It was a way to get my emotions out. Fortunately, I have that way of escape. It is an escape for me. And there are songs that are so personal that will stay that way, that I'll never record. There's a song that I did write that I will never put on a commercial record. It's a song called No One Else. In Spanish, it's called Por Ser Quien Soy, which we're using to outreach Hispanic and young women about breast cancer, and also American women. And that's a song that's got a life of its own, but there are a whole bunch. My songs are way, way too deep to put on the record than the songs that I did put on the record.
Now, there's a certain place that you get to when you've had a brush with death, to be honest about it. I live 2 blocks from the World Trade Center, so I kind of have a feel for what that's like. That puts you in another place that's just really joyous because you're around. Can you talk about that a little? Because I'm assuming
that's where I've been, and that's where I am, and that's where I will stay. Every time I do something, I'm so grateful for just being able to do it. And then there's always the question, how far do you want to go with this record? Do you want self-platinum? Do you want to do this? You know what? I don't care. I'm just so happy that I was able to make this record. I'm so happy to be able to say I'm here. Hello, still here, still going strong. That to me is enough. And when you reduce life to that, then it becomes a little bit easier because then everything else is just kind of there. It will show up when it's supposed to show up. I still work really hard. I'm still very focused in what I do, but I'm very grateful for everything that comes my way. And it sounds a little new age and all that, but it's just, I love it. It's real. And it changes. I mean, we were at Madison Square Garden the other night, and it's like, everybody's like, oh, you know, backstage is all this commotion, and I'm like, I'm just so excited. I'm here at Madison Square Garden. How great could it be? You know, nothing can ruin this for me, and that's really how I try to look at everything that I do.
I was one of the people stressed backstage, by the way, running around, so she's not kidding at all. Can you talk a little bit, you mentioned just a moment ago that you recorded the album live, meaning that the musicians were all together during all the songs. What were they like to you? What was that support system like from your band?
Well, I took that decision. That's a production decision that I took when, see, at first I wrote the songs, and then I have a studio in my house, and I went into my studio. I played drums, I played keyboards, bass, badly, but I played them. I can defend myself. But I did all the arrangements myself at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning at crazy hours. I called my guys in. I gave them each a copy of my demos, and I said, just learn them, come back. We're going to just play them live in my living room. And they came back, and when we played them, they were so excited about the fact that I signed a new contract. I was going to get back out there and do it again. And they've all been rooting for me for so long. And they were with me, like, you know, we played like 75,000, 100,000 seaters in Germany and Europe and all this stuff, and they were there. So for them, it was so special for them. And when I saw how they were playing and saw their faces and saw how excited they were, I was like, no, we have to do this live. And it was very emotional. They were very emotional. There were some very emotional moments during the recording when we had to stop and regroup. But they were like tears of joy and just tears of being grateful as well, them as well as me.
Now, I understand you're going to be going to L.A. and doing some tracks in English. Is it for an English album or?
We're going to do some tracks in English, but it's not for an English album in the U.S. I don't want to say it too loudly, but for me, it was really important to make this album in Spanish. It's really important for me, and it was important for me on a personal level. I'm very much attached to my roots, and I feel very strongly that music is music, and music can convey something. Whether or not you understand the nuances of the words, you feel it. And I wanted very strongly to have the record be in Spanish and represent my heritage in that way. The tracks that we'll be doing in English are actually for a European market. And even then, it's not the whole record in English. I'm insisting that it's only going to be a few tracks that are going to be in English, and the majority of the record will still stay just the way it is in Spanish.
So you've been traveling around probably since like February, I heard. How much more of the year will you be traveling?
I'll be traveling most of the year. I'm going to take December off, hopefully. But we'll be traveling. We'll be doing some more promotions. We're going to L.A. We're going to be back in New York. We're going to be doing Chicago, Texas, back to Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, Chile, a whole bunch of places. And then hopefully in September, October, November, we'll be doing some shows in the U.S. and in Puerto Rico and Colombia.
You're enjoying every minute of that. I know you are. And you're what this is all about. You're what music is all about. It's such a treat to be able to talk to you finally. Welcome you back. I just missed you. So I'm glad you're back with us once again. So Judy with Soraya. We love you. We'll see you soon.